Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by the Cryptid.
That's cryptic. I don't like it.
I said cryptid, not cryptic.
I still don't like it.
What if I throw in a Thunderbird?
That works for me.
Good. Now, here is our FFM.
I suppose it's too late to stop it now.
Far too late.
Homicide Bureau, Sergeant Simmons speaking.
Sergeant, this is Ken Forbes of the Lawson Forge Machinery Company.
Yes?
You better send one of your men out here to our factory right away.
Accident?
Yeah, worse than that. It's about a young ex-convict we have working here. He just murdered Mr. Lawson.
Hello? Are you Mr. Forbes? What? I say, are you the Mr. Forbes that called police? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I'm Forbes. It's an extremely rush order I'm working on. I couldn't afford to let it wait. I understand, yes. If you'll just follow me, Inspector. Mr. Lawson's in his office over here, officer. Just like I found him after Joseph shot him. There's the body. Shot through the head, huh? This the gun? Yes, Lawson's own gun. A pretty small gun for a man to have. Usually only find these in a woman's purse. Didn't you say this Joseph was an ex-convict, Mr. Forbes? That's right, officer. I warned Lawson about hiring someone with a police record, but he ignored me. Why? Oh, where is this Joseph? Did he get away? I have him locked in the washroom here, so he couldn't run away. Here, come on out. Well, haven't you anything to say, Joseph?
What's the use? What good would it do me to say I didn't do it? Who'd believe me, an ex-con?
Why'd you do it?
I didn't do it. I was working on the milling machine, and Mr. Forbes knows it.
Officer, I heard Lawson giving Joseph the devil just before this happened. He'd been in the office for...
That's a lie.
It's not a lie. You had been snooping. I saw you going through the checking accounts 2 days ago,
Mr. Lawson asked me to help him audit the accounts.
That's a poor alibi. Ask you. Why wouldn't he have his own partner help him on the audit? You were just snooping. He probably caught you this afternoon, and you, knowing where Lawson kept his gun, got it and shot him. Forbes, what were you doing all the time the squabble was going on? I was operating that chain of automatic punch presses over there in the corner. As I told you when you came in, it's a rush order. And how did you know about this? Well, I heard Lawson giving Joseph here a good lacing. Joseph seemed pretty sullen. Then all of a sudden, I heard a shot. I ran into the office and found Lawson slumped back in his chair, blood running from his temples.
I didn't do it, officer. Just because I was set up once for some childish prank, you can't accuse me of murder.
I'm not accusing you, Joseph. But I am arresting Mr. Forbes for the murder of his partner.
What clue did the officer uncover that turned the finger of guilt on Mr. Forbes? We'll find out in one moment. But first...
I say, Ron, I have a question.
You have a suggestion?
No, I have a question.
Something's wrong with your digestion?
Here, let me turn this on.
Oh, that's much better.
I was saying that I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Why do women need to use little guns?
Oh, that's a 40s thing, I guess. I think that women in the 40s carried a .22 in their purse rather than pepper spray.
Oh, I see.
And now, back to the homicide officer and the solution.
Forbes, you said you were operating those punch presses when you heard Lawson arguing with Joseph. Then you heard the shot. I did. This gun being so small makes very little noise, yet you say you heard it over there in the corner with all those punch presses going. Forbes, you couldn't have heard a shot because just a few minutes ago, you couldn't hear me for all the noise, and I was shouting right into your ears. No, Forbes. Your ears aren't that good, and neither is your alibi.
What are you doing? Hey, stop that.
I wanted to see if a small gun makes a little noise. The detective is quite correct that a .22 does make a more diminutive sound.
Next time, warn a guy.
That wouldn't be as much fun.
Well, at least our story was pretty good today.
Yes, it was.
What's that you said?
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. On the show today, we are full of monsters and cryptids.
That sounds very scary.
Quite frankly, we do have some scary stories today. We have 3 stories from you guys that range from a Thunderbird to a rock-throwing Bigfoot.
You don't say.
I do say. Our featured story is downright creepy. How creepy, you might ask? Let's ask the boys.
It's creepy.
It tells the story of a man-eating spider.
Why spiders? Why couldn't we follow the butterflies?
Well, because that wouldn't terrify us.
He's right, you know.
I know I am. I received this email from Kurt Geraro, who didn't say where he was from. Hey Ron, love the show and have a question for you. What is your background in the paranormal? You seem to know a lot, and I'm curious how you came by it. Kurt. Well, Kurt, I wouldn't go so far as to say a lot, but I have picked up a few things. I really was a full-blown skeptic up until a few years ago. It was the stories that you guys sent in that has changed my mind. Also, I had a couple personal experiences that couldn't be explained away. Here's me in a nutshell. I love to do research. It is my passion. So, when a story comes in or I hear something, I'm going to go see if there's any evidence to back it up. Do that enough, and you begin to see patterns and you learn things. Also, in the 90s, I spent some time chasing Bigfoot. I didn't believe in Bigfoot as much as I wanted to disprove it. It was a strange time. The bottom line is, I'm no expert, but I do know enough to be dangerous. I hope that answers your question, Kurt. Now, let's get to this week's audiobook review. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, computer, Kindle. Whatever you have, you can listen to Audible on it. So what am I listening to? Adventures in Cryptozoology, hunting for Yetis, Mongolian deathworms, and other not-so-mythical monsters, written by Richard Freeman. Adventures in Cryptozoology is the perfect resource for the explorer. Through this text, you get to explore the world through its most unlikely creatures. Richard Freeman is the zoological director for the Center for 14 Zoology. He has explored the corners of the 5 continents in search for creatures that many people believe are non-existent. Here is the introduction to the book.
Most of us have relegated monsters to the realms of horror movies and nightmares, but by doing this, we do them a disservice. The reality is that monsters walk the earth today. The Oxford English Dictionary has several definitions of a monster. They include a large, ugly, and frightening imaginary creature, and a thing of extraordinary or daunting size. Both would sound familiar to most people today. But what makes a monster can depend on how you look at things. Flamingos are beautiful birds. Most of us have seen them at zoos or on wildlife documentaries. They are a favourite amongst bird watchers, admired for their lovely pink plumage. Most species derive their coloration from the carotenoid proteins in tiny shrimps that they filter from the water with the lamellae in their beaks. Though they look beautiful to us, flamingos must seem horrific to their diminutive prey, as a vast gaping maw fringed with hair-like structures lunging down to scoop them up. For the sake of this book, however, I will use the term monster for a cryptid. Cryptids, or real monsters, fall into several categories. Some, like the Mongolian deathworm, are utterly unknown to modern science. The second category is that of creatures thought to be extinct, but that may still thrive in remote parts of the world. The Tasmanian wolf belongs to the latter group. Lastly, we have known creatures who have grown to dimensions far beyond those officially sanctioned by so-called experts. These creatures would include animals like the giant anaconda. Some cryptozoologists, those who study and search for cryptids, dislike the term monster. I disagree. We would do well to remember the original meaning of the word. It comes from the Latin monstrum, meaning revelation. As a cryptozoologist, I find this very fitting. In the days before international travel, before television, and before Sir David Attenborough, the average European knew little about the wild animals of the world. Most of their scant knowledge would have been gained, by the few who could read, from bestiaries. These illustrated compendiums of animal lore were popular in Europe throughout the Middle Ages. These books were more concerned with what moral lessons Christians could learn from beasts than the natural histories of the beasts themselves. The dragon, for example, was symbolic of both Satan and pride. Conversely, the unicorn symbolized Christ and his humility. The depictions of animals with which we are familiar today, such as crocodiles, elephants, and hyenas, were so distorted as to look like something else entirely. The artists involved had never seen living specimens of the beasts in question, and had only travellers' descriptions to go on. Some of the strange beasts recorded in these works have been shown to be garbled versions of real animals. The manticore, according to the bestiaries, was a beast with red fur, a body like a lion, a man's face, rows of shark's teeth, and a scorpion tail. It was said to dwell in India and be fond of the flesh of men. We know today that the manticore had its origin in the tiger. As people began to travel more and the globe became more populous, inch by inch, superstition was replaced with science. Exotic creatures were captured for menageries springing up across Europe, and a new interest in natural history, free from religious allegory, began. With the Renaissance and the dawn of the age of science, many of the ancient monsters were slain by reason. In his 1748 book, An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding, the Scottish philosopher David Hume, 1711 to 1776, noted that no amount of evidence could prove the reality of an event that violated the laws of nature. It was more likely that the evidence was wrong.
In this book, Freeman shares the exciting stories of his investigations of the Yeti, Mongolian deathworm, Loch Ness Monster, Orang Pendak, Niki Naka, and many more. The line between myth and reality may be more narrow than you think. Are you ready to begin your search for Sasquatch and learn how to hunt monsters? Adventures in Cryptozoology is your guide, and you can have it today. Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out their service. This includes free access to the Audible Plus catalog, which is updated monthly with new titles. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Again, that's audibletrial.com facebook.com/Ron's Amazing Stories, and you can get Adventures in Cryptozoology. Thank you, Audible. And now, it's time for your stories.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Our theme for your stories this time is the cryptid. Webster defines it as an animal, such as Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster, that has claimed to exist but never proven to exist. Contrary to popular belief, cryptids don't have to be supernatural, mythical, or even all that strange, though many popular creatures acquire these characteristics as their legends grow. The first use of the word cryptid came in 1983. It is said to be the combination of crypto and ID. Our first story comes from Haiti, in a roundabout way. Angela Embry from Irving, Texas, sent us this email. Hello, Ron. I listen to the show every week and tell everyone I can about it. I hope that helps. Everyone I have ever told say they love it once they hear it. I have a story that was told to me by my mother, who heard it from her mother. We've been in the United States for 3 generations now, and many of those stories traveled with us. Some of them are very scary, like this one. Do you believe in werewolves? They aren't really what you think. The Creole translations are usually winged monsters. However, they can be half wolf or half bird, or half any animal for that matter. The bottom line is the werewolf just means that they practice the evil art of voodoo. They wear the skin of an animal and kill during the night. There have been many men in Haiti who have been lynched when they were found out to be werewolves. Here is my family's tale. This is a story about a werewolf who stole a newborn baby in the middle of the night. These creatures take newborns because they feed on their innocence. One night on my family's plantation, one of these werewolves, or winged monsters, entered the house and scooped up my great-grandmother's sister. She had been born only 3 days before. The crying woke up the family, and they ran outside towards the cries. All they saw was this winged creature's silhouette against the moon, flying into the darkness. The foreman, who was also the child's uncle, decided to go rescue the baby before it was eaten. He was able to find the house of the werewolf. He walked around the place and investigated. He came to the back porch and found that the skin of the werewolf was left outside. He poured salt on it, and it shriveled away. Without his skin, the werewolf didn't stand a chance against the hero. Broke into the hut, killed the beast while it was still in its human form, and returned the baby to our family. For years, the young child was watched closely, for it's said that if you were taken by the winged monsters and were not eaten, you were doomed to its fate. Angela Embry, Irving, Texas. Well, that is an amazing story. Short, simple, and when you sit down and think about it, truly terrifying. Thank you for sharing this with us, Angela. Our second story for today comes from the Pacific Northwest. Now I know what you're thinking. We have another Bigfoot tale? You would be wrong. What we have is a story of the infamous Thunderbird. Yes, we have those as well in the forests of the Northwest. This one comes from Peter Androphis, and he hails from Seattle. He has titled his story, Was That a Thunderbird? Hello, Ron. Have you ever heard of the Thunderbird? I didn't believe they were real until I saw one on the Pacific Coast Highway in Oregon. It's one of the most beautiful drives ever, and the scenery will take your breath away. I was with my wife and 2 boys. We were heading to California to visit my mother. It was early May, so the roads were still quiet. We had stopped for lunch at a roadside pullout. There are tons of these types of stops all along the route. Each has some remarkable bit of history with an incredible view. We had just finished lunch, and the boys were throwing rocks into the ocean. I was drawing the scene in my sketchbook so that I could paint it later. I heard this squawk that filled the entire area. It rivaled even the ocean sounds. I looked around and saw nothing, but then I felt a strange wind. A huge bird came diving in at my boys. It had been using the sun to hide its attack. I heard my wife scream, and I yelled at the boys to dive under the guardrail. They did, and the giant bird swooped down, but at the last moment curved away and flew out towards the ocean. We all watched as the giant thing flew out of view. The beast had the body of a vulture, but the head of a reptile. I would estimate its wingspan to be close to 20 feet, but I wasn't in any real position to go out and measure them. We quickly gathered up our stuff and got the heck out of there. My family talks about this event often, and we had no idea of what we saw. That is until I heard your podcast on the Thunderbird. I am sure that that is what attacked my boys. Peter in Dropus, Seattle, Washington. Well, that is crazy, Peter. So very disquieting and the stuff of nightmares. What you described very much sounds like a Thunderbird. If you want to hear the podcast that we did on the cryptid, listen to episode number 426. I will put a link to it in the show notes. Again, thank you, Peter, for sharing your story. Amazing. Not all stories have to be long to get you thinking. Like this one from Delbert Oliver, who I guess lives near the Appalachian Mountains. But who can say? He did title his story. He has called it Yeti Throws Rocks. Clever title, don't you think? So it was a winter's day, and it had snowed the day before me and my dad were in the Appalachian Mountains hiking. On our way back to the car, we began to hear twigs snapping in the ridge above us, but we assumed it was just other people hiking. 10 minutes later, we saw a giant rock fly off the top of the ridge and nearly hit us. We were pretty scared at that point, so we called out and waited for a response, but we never got one. We were almost at the car when we started to hear what we thought were coyotes, but it was way too low and guttural for them. So we got in the car and drove away. To this day, we have no idea what it was. We went back up there and set up some critter cams, but we never caught anything. Delbert Oliver, The Appalachians? Well, Delbert, I love your story and your pun. Yeti throws rocks. So very clever. Our last story is also about the big guy. It comes from the great state of Virginia and was sent in by Robert Jinks. He has titled his story, Okay, I Believe You Now. So last year with the lockdown, I got this wild hair and plunged into the Bigfoot thing. 7 or 8 months of non-stop research and annoying the heck out of my girlfriend about Bigfoot. It was all brought on by nothing more than clicking on a few YouTube videos one night. My girlfriend's family, it turns out, has a little history with the big hairy guys. Her uncle was featured in some European Yeti Squatch hunter blog after reporting a footprint in his backyard. They all live out in the sticks of Virginia. Also, her brother says that he was off-roading at night with his buddy in the back of his Jeep. That buddy shrieks and tumbles out. Her brother stops, and the buddy comes hauling out of the dark screaming, "Just drive!" Then he saw this big old thing on 2 legs run through the headlights of the Jeep. Whatever it was, it stood about 8 or 9 feet tall. Fast forward about a month and a half. It's Christmas Day, and we're out at her family's for dinner. Great food, people are cool, and so Sasquatch is pretty far from my mind. We head out about 5 p.m.-ish. It's still a bit light out, but by the end of the driveway, I have to turn on the headlights. 15 or maybe 20 minutes into the drive back home, we're coming up on a medium left curve, and my headlights light up a foot, then a leg, then the back of this huge thing. I'm still reluctant to say it was a squatch for sure. This thing was easily every bit of 9 feet tall. The foot was illuminated, and it was on top of a double yellow line. I would say half its heel overhung that yellow line, so that would make it over a foot in length, maybe 15 inches or so. It was crossing the road from my right to the left quickly enough that my lights never hit its face. I slammed on the brakes, and we just sat there for a minute. Finally, my girlfriend broke the silence. She said, "Okay, I believe you now." I love this story. Simple, and I personally believe it. So many people think that Bigfoot isn't possible, but it's stories like this one that keep the myth alive. I live in the Northwest. In fact, less than 30 minutes away from Bigfoot Central. If you spend any time at all in the towns of Cougar or Amboy, Washington, you stop thinking Bigfoot is a myth and spend more time wondering why more people don't see him. Thank you for your story, Robert. Well, that's all for this time. If you have a story that you would like to share, like Robert did, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com and click on the story submission banner. Leave your story, give it a title, and tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story comes from the OTR series, Lights Out. Today, you have to ask yourself, do I suffer from acrophobia? If the answer is yes, then this one might not be for you. If your answer is no, then you may have to reevaluate your idea of spiders after you've heard it. One of the last frontiers in the world are some areas of the Amazon rainforests. In our story today, hunters deal with a monster out of the deepest depth of many a nightmare. The tale is titled, quite simply, Spider, and it first aired in 1938. However, the version we're going to hear today was a remake of that story, and it first aired on May 18, 1943.
Ionized Yeast presents Lights Out, everybody. It is later than you think. Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and the mysteries of the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays, we urge you calmly, but sincerely, to turn off your radio now. This is Arch Obler.
In these days, the jungles are full of the whine of machine gun bullets and with 25 caliber automatic rifles. There was a time, though, when the sound in the jungle was that of insects and the raucous call of jungle birds. Men went into the tropical forest for high adventures or to make money. It's of these times that our story is tonight.
And now?
Lights out. Everybody.
The jungles of the upper Amazon.
Dixie! Hey, Dixie!
You don't have to shout. I hear you.
Hey, Dixie, look. Hey, look at this. Look at this one. Look at it, I tell you.
Another butterfly.
Yeah, look at these wings. Look at them.
Bet if it had wings big as an airplane to take us out of this hellhole.
I bet I'll get 10 francs for this one.
If we get out of the jungle alive.
Oh, I'll get out.
Aye. You mean we? You wouldn't leave me here?
Don't worry, Dixie. You get in this with me and you'll get out of it with me. It's good to sit down.
Until the ants begin to eat you.
Oh, cut it out, will you? Can't you do anything but sing the blues?
I suppose I should be happy. Should sing a song because the sun is burning me up, because the insects bite me, because I'm here in this devil's hole, half the world away from my home.
Cut it out. I like it any better than you do. It's our only chance, see? Catching these bugs is our only chance to get the dough and get out of here.
But the sun...
You think the sun's any colder working in the mines? You think the sun's any colder sitting out there on the beach tearing your heart out every time you see a boat heading back? Tell you, Dixie, the jungle's the only chance we have to get out of here, and by the devil, I'm taking it.
Yeah, you're right. I know it's as you say. Our only chance.
Sure it is. Now snap out of it. Another couple of days like this one, and we'll have caught enough of these bugs to head back to the coast.
But will we get through?
Listen, Dixie, when I say I'm getting out of here, I'm getting out.
But the natives say...
Cut it out, I tell you. Nothing's going to stop me.
But if we do get out, how do we know that Mr. Renack will buy the butterflies?
Listen, he said he would, didn't he?
Oh, what a man says.
Yeah? Well, why shouldn't he buy them? Gives us a franc a piece and then sells them all over the world for plenty of dough.
But who would waste money on such things?
Don't you know nothing? Schools, museums. They pay plenty of dough for these jungle butterflies.
But why should anybody...
Oh, forget it, I tell you. Yeah, hot enough without you shooting your mouth up all over the time? Now lay still, I tell you, and forget it.
All right. I'll forget it. Joe, I seen you laugh to yourself. Why do you laugh?
I was just thinking. What? I was thinking what you said before about a butterfly with wings like an aeroplane.
Yeah?
Funny, ain't it? Two big guys like you and me. Guys that shot the works from arson and murder. Both of us depended on what? To get us out of the jungle and back to where we came from. Handful of blue and red and purple butterflies.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Funny, ain't it? If anybody told me a couple of years ago that I'd be chasing bugs, I'd have slugged them. The bugs are all the chance I got now.
That's right.
You know, it's a funny thing. When I was a kid, I used to chase butterflies, too. Dinky little white ones all around the empty lot and back. What's the matter with you, Dixie? What are you staring at?
You didn't see it?
See what? What is there to see but a... Ladies?
No.
Then what? Then what?
From behind that tree. He looked out at me.
He? What are you talking about? Who looked out at you?
A spider. And I think it was as large as a dog. Joe. Not sleeping?
No.
I can't sleep either.
Oh, so hot. Yeah, it used to get nice and cool about this time of night where I used to live.
Joe.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Did I see it?
You starting that again?
But I must have seen it. I must have seen it. It was all so clear.
But I tell you, it was nothing but a monkey hanging there. Spider.
But I saw...
Go on, the heat's frying your brains. Go on to sleep.
Yeah. Sleep. I'll try.
Okay. Blasted mosquito got it under the netting.
You get it? You get it?
No. I got it.
Another one?
You're holding the netting. That's what's the matter. I might as well get up and fix it. Blasted stuff is falling apart with mildew.
Joe.
What do you want?
Don't go too close to the edge of that clearing.
What are you talking about? I'm just going to fix the netting so that...
Joe, what? Joe, what is it? Joe!
Okay.
Yeah, but you screamed.
Yeah.
Well?
I saw it too. It was sitting at the edge of the clearing in the moonlight. Yeah. Spider as big as a dog. Tighter. Pull the line tighter. Yeah, I done it. Okay, come on out of the tree now.
All right.
Now watch yourself. Don't shake that tree too much. That trapdoor's set on a hair trigger.
There. Now it's done.
Yeah. That cage ain't strong enough to hold it. You can run a knife through it.
But what if it doesn't come here again?
Here by the tree the last 2 nights, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what...
So it'll do it again. Only this time it's going to stay by the tree.
But what if the trap fails?
Don't start that again. Tell you, one jerk in the spine from where we're sitting, the whole cage will fall right on him. Then, my friend, our troubles are all over.
I tell you, Joe, I'm afraid.
Afraid of what? Getting out of here and getting someplace where we can live like men? You afraid of making money?
Money?
Listen, for a spider that big, I could get enough cash to float home with silk shirts on our back. Think of it. A spider that big? We'll clean up with it.
No, Joe, no. I say let's get away from here.
Oh, scared you, Dixie, huh? Well, it don't me. I tell you, this blasted jungle has stood out a gold mine for us.
But the trap... Are you sure of it, Joe?
Sure, I'm sure. We'll catch him. And it won't be butterflies paying our ship fare home, Dixie. It'll be the biggest spider in the world. That's all right, huh, Dixie?
But are you sure of the trap, Joe?
The wind's strong tonight.
Yeah.
I wonder what time it is.
Stars are gone.
Getting up morning.
Yeah.
It was always earlier before.
The trap frightened them away.
What do spiders know about traps?
You said yourself they're clever.
Don't be a fool.
But you said yourself...
Just talking, that's all.
There's a fear in me. Cold and sharp as you...
Wait.
Huh?
The edge of the clearing.
It's coming.
Stay quiet.
Joe, let him go.
Quiet or I'll kill you.
Don't pull a trap.
Quiet.
It's looking at us.
Another step and it'll be right under the... There. I got it. Oh, look at it, Dixie. Trot. And it's mine. The biggest spider in creation. I'll get all the money I need. Oh. Well, Dixie, what's the matter with you? Come on, why don't you say something?
Trapped. And it doesn't move. Just looks at us.
How many days since... Well, say it. Since we caught the big fella? 3. Yeah, 3 days.
You haven't said it.
You're telling me.
Why do you...
Because I'm playing it smart. Pretty soon that thing won't be caring much about anything. Then I'm going to slip a bottom of that cage and off we go.
They say such creatures can live for a long time without eating.
Not when they're that size. I figure that sitting out there in that sun all day, well, in about a week it won't care much whatever we do with it.
Joe.
Yeah?
How could such a creature be?
What do you mean, how could it be? You're looking at it, ain't you?
But such a spider.
It's there. That's all that means anything to me.
But such a giant creature.
That's it. It's a giant, ain't it? Well, you've seen giant human beings in circuses, haven't you? Well, they just happen, that's all. That's the way this spider happened.
So black.
Yeah. The midnight special, ain't he? Those big, hairy legs.
Once I saw an octopus.
Huh?
Devilfish.
Oh, yeah, sure. This one looks like a dry land devilfish, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, will that make a billboard at a circus sideshow? Will we clean up?
The legs, the strength they must have.
Not when I get through it.
Look at it, Joe, be honest.
Huh?
Isn't there a strange fascination when you look at it closer?
What are you talking about?
Its eyes.
Well,
how they shine.
So what?
As if there was a thought behind it.
You're starting that again.
All these 3 days it sits there so quietly. Its eyes like burning flames just watching.
Cut it out.
If it is thinking, I'm afraid of what it is thinking.
How do you need, Spider? Yeah, plenty hot. Yeah, Dixie couldn't take it anymore. He's off looking for a cool spot. But me, I didn't want to leave you alone, Spider. I didn't want to leave my meal ticket. You're going to be a big-time attraction on the boardwalk in some big-time circus, Spider. Yeah? Yeah, you're a screwy-looking thing, Spider. They won't believe it until they see it. The fella's going to cost them plenty before they do see it. Hey, Spider. Why don't you move? Spider. You're not dead. Get a stick. Spider. Bless you, you're not dead. You can't be dead. It's been only a week since... You can't be dead. You're my chance. You can't be dead. Curled up with your legs over you. Bless you, move. Reach in and see. Let go. Let go of me. You bastard devil. You fool me. Let go. Let go of my arm. Get away. Let go. Dixie. The spider. Come on, Dixie.
Joe, where are you? Joe? Oh, the sound suddenly so quiet. Joe? Where's the man? He said he'd be here. He said... Buddy, what? Cried up. What? Joe! Joe, come quickly. I found a body. Joe, come quickly. Must see who? Joe, it's you. Joe, how did this... What? The spider. But how... Gone from the cage. And what he did to you, Joe. Might come back. Why do I stand here? Might come back. Gotta get out. Yeah, get things together. Butterflies, take boxes and get out before... something move behind that tree. No, won't get me. Won't get me. It won't get me. Oh. Oh. My foot pushed it. Must have broken my... Oh. Gotta get away. Oh. Gotta get away. Gotta get away. Gotta get away. Oh, my leg. Crawling. How far have I crawled? All day. So dark. Never get me now, that devil thing. I did get away. I crawled miles. I did get away. Clear. Someone to help me. Crawled to the house. Someone to help me. So dark. Oh. Tired. No strength to call out. Crawl and find someone to help me. And I'll be free. Free. Got something. What? A body. Joe, you, but how? What? Back in the camp. I'm back in the camp. Crawled all night in a circle back in the camper. No. Get out. Get out before it... Oh, my leg. No. Can't crawl anymore. That sound. What? Behind me. It's behind me, waiting to jump on my back. No, don't! Nothing. Isn't there? If I could only crawl again, if I could only get away before... The moon coming up bright. Now I'll see what... Not here. Only you, Joe. Empty flesh over there in the moonlight. Blast you to the devil, Joe. You brought me here. You was right that you died, but that spider won't get me, not me. It's gone now. My leg will get better. I will get away. Yes, I will. Spider, come back. Oh, no. No closer. No closer. No. Going back. Well, what? On Joe. Crawling over him. But Joe is dead. What is the spider going to... Spinning a web over him. Turning him around and around like a fly. Covering him with that thick silk. Spinning a web of silk over Joe. Sleep? Sun. Morning. It is morning. I'm alive. Someone coming. Get a hide. Who? So heavy I walk it can't be that devil spider. Must be one of the savages here. Help me. See who? Joe. It is Joe alive. Joe, I'm here. Joe, I'm here. Wait for me. Joe, why do you stand there? I must have had a dream. All that happened, yes, a dream. Last night was such a funny nightmare to tell you. Joe, why do you just stand there? Why do you just look at me? Your eyes, the sun shines in them. They hurt me. Don't look at me like that, Joe. Your eyes so dark, so big. I say closer, closer, my friend, come closer. I have such a happy thing to tell you, closer. I hear you. I like what your eyes are singing to me, Joe. Yes, I come closer. You keep telling me that happy thing. Yeah. I'm close to you now, Joe. Tell me what your eyes... Your hand. Why do you grab my arm? Your other hand, my other arm. Why do your fingers hold my arm so tight they hurt me? Another arm on my shoulder, Joe. Another arm holding my neck. Joe, so many arms, how can it be? Joe, it is you. I see your face, but your eyes bigger and bigger. Sun so strong in my head, burning my head inside. Is that why I see such crazy things, Joe? Joe, why don't you say something? Your eyes bigger and bigger, burning into my head. Now your face is changing. Joe, it is you. And why doesn't your face... Joe, that sound, your face, your arms... Spider... You are the spider. The spider. Your eyes fooled me, didn't they? Made me think I was seeing Joe, but all the time it was you, Mr. Spider. They're wonderful eyes you have, Mr. Spider. I'm not afraid anymore. Isn't that a joke? Your black arms pull me close. I see the poison dripping from your fangs, but I'm not afraid. It's very funny. When the worst thing really happens, you're not afraid. I'm not afraid. Your fangs. Closer. Closer. I'm not afraid. Bite deep. Bite deep.
Well, Mr. Obler, what's the moral of tonight's story? Stay away from spiders?
Yes, especially from black widows. No, Frank, our story tonight was just in fun, which reminds me of vacations, of which few of us are going to have any this year. And speaking of vacations, I'd like to tell you about a very amazing vacation I once had, visiting haunted houses. And after that vacation, I was badly in need of something our government wants very much these days. Nurses. Now, here's some facts, and please listen because they concern each of you. Unless the nurse power of the entire nation is reinforced by the enrollment of 65,000 students in the schools of nursing for 1943, all of us face a real threat to civilian health. Therefore, beginning immediately and continuing through the spring and summer months, nursing must be considered America's #1 woman power shortage. I'd like to say some words that the government said. 65,000 young women must dedicate their lives so that others might live. Now about haunted houses. Well, I visited all the legendary haunts up in New England, but, well, I went through the moss-covered old piles and creaky-floored structures and weather-beaten homes and all the places where the souls of the unhappy departed are supposed to walk through the night.
What happened?
I caught a violent cold and met a little old lady.
Oh, who's she?
Well, you'll meet her next week in a play titled Little Old Lady. And to all of you, a very, very cordial invitation to an amazing little old lady next week.
Yes, tune in next Tuesday again for Arch Obler's eerie story, Little Old Lady.
It is later than you think.
Okay, that was creepy. There are no two ways about that. I'm not particularly afraid of spiders, but that one, he's not on my bucket list. My hope is that no such cryptid exists in our world, and if there is, I'll never meet up with it. Lights Out is an old-time radio program devoted mostly to horror and the supernatural. It was created by Willis Cooper and then eventually taken over by Arch Obler. Versions of Lights Out aired on different networks at various times from 1934 to the summer of 1947. Lights Out was one of the very earliest radio horror programs in the golden age of radio. In the fall of 1933, NBC writer Willis Cooper conceived the idea of a midnight mystery serial to catch the attention of the listeners at the witching hour. The idea was to offer listeners a dramatic program late at night at a time when the competition was mostly airing music. At some point, the serial concept was dropped in favor of anthologies. Lights Out was truly a one-of-a-kind show during its time.
But now, 2 points that'll pay every driver to remember if you want to be sure you're getting the tops in quality when you buy gasoline. 1. In gasoline, it takes extra quality to give you extra mileage, to go farther. And 2, Signal is the famous Go Farther gasoline. After all, the only way any gasoline can put more thrilling performance into your car is by helping your motor run more efficiently. And when your motor runs more efficiently, naturally you get better mileage. So mileage is really the best yardstick of gasoline quality. That's why we're so proud of Signal's good mileage. And it's why Signal says, when you buy gasoline for your car, to be sure you're getting the tops in quality, there are just 2 things to remember. 1, in gasoline, it takes extra quality to go farther. And 2, throughout the West, from Canada to Mexico, Signal is the famous Go Farther gasoline.
This is the year of the Lark. The Lark is the car of the year. Look what's new for you from the Lark. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. It's a new convertible, seats 5 adults in style. It's so pert and perky, runs on pennies per mile.
The Lark by Studebaker, yours in 6 stunning styles for $60, including the new convertible and...
Look what else is new for you. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. It's a new Lark wagon with 4 convenient doors. And it's style for fun and frolic, but it's built for chores.
Look at the Lark yourself. Learn how it's been proven by 750 million miles of owner use. Visit your Studebaker dealer and see how nothing has been spared to build quality into the Lark. Discover why it's the value car of the year.
The Lark is the car of the year.
That was episode number 546, and these are the folks that helped us out today. Kurt Geraro, Angela Imbrie, Peter Adropis, Delbert Oliver, and Robert Jinks. You know, you guys were amazing. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button makes us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.